What's up everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I'm actually very excited about sharing this build with you guys because this build is part of a collab. It's called the I Heart Japan collab or I Love Japan collab. And basically we got together with 45 simmers in total. And we filled both Mount Komorebi and San Myshuno with all Japan-inspired builds. So that's very exciting. Everyone did such an amazing job. Everyone's builds are so good and just so beautiful. And everyone will be sharing their builds today on Instagram. So if you are interested in looking at any of the other builds that the other simmers did for this collab, just search for the hashtag IHeartJapan. I will put the hashtag in the description box down below so you can just kind of copy and paste it if you want to. But if you search for that hashtag, then you will find everyone's builds. Everyone is on Instagram, all the builders that participated in the collab. Everyone is on Instagram and everyone will be sharing their builds today. So that's very, very exciting. We will also release a touring video and a save file, but that's not until a little bit later. That will be shared on September 12th. So I will be, if you're interested in downloading the save file, which obviously will be filled with all the builds from the collab in San Myshuno and Mount Komorebi. So if you are interested in downloading that save file, then just make sure to follow me on Instagram because I will be sharing the link where to download and how to download the save file and stuff. I will be sharing that in my stories on Instagram on the day that it will be released. So make sure to follow me on Instagram if you are interested in downloading that save file. So yeah, that's all very exciting and a lot of fun. But yeah, like I said, everyone who participated in the collab will be releasing or showing off their builds on Instagram today. So if you want to check out all the other builds, which I definitely recommend you do because everyone did such an amazing job. All the builds are so different and so fun and everyone's creativity is just so different, and that makes a collab with a bunch of simmers just so much fun to participate in my opinion, because you can see everyone's builds, everyone's different styles, everyone's creativity, and you can just learn so much from each other and be inspired by someone else's builds, and I just think that's so much fun. But yeah, make sure to search for the hashtag IHeartJapan on Instagram and you will see all of these amazing builds. But yeah, as you can see, I'm building here on a lot in Mount Komorebi in the neighborhood that's called Wakaba, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I'm building a community lot, which is a lot of fun because I don't necessarily build community lots very often. And I've literally never done a community lot in Mount Komorebi. So this was definitely something different for me. It was a nice challenge. Like I said, I've never done any community lots in this world because I always think it's kind of scary and a little bit intimidating for some reason. But yeah, today I'm building a lounge, which I'm building it on this lot where there is a another lounge by default that was built by James Turner, which is also a very, very beautiful lounge. But obviously I wanted to build my own, so I sat down and built a lounge in Mount Komorebi, and I think it turned out very, very fun. I was definitely just building as I went, basically. I did have a reference photo to kind of get me started on the build mainly for just the overall shape of the build, but I let go of the reference picture quite soon. Like I felt comfortable enough to just kind of go with my own creativity and see what I could come up with. But for the overall like shape of the build, it was nice to have some sort of picture to kind of go off. So yeah, it was nice to use a reference picture, but I let go of it quite fast. And I'm happy that I did because I do think it turned out nice. I think it's a very nice lounge, and as you can see, I was kind of going for both modern and traditional at the same time. I wanted this lounge to feel very luxurious and very, I don't know how to explain it other than luxurious, but just very nice and luxurious and inviting at the same time. And I wanted it to be kind of modern, but I also wanted it to have traditional elements to it. So You can see the exterior, it definitely has traditional elements to it, but it's also very modern at the same time. It's crispy and white on the outside, and I did use some more traditional like doors and windows and stuff, but at the same time, they could also be more modern. I was kind of trying to find a nice mixture between those two styles, basically. And I really love how the exterior turned out. I decided to place a little pond, as you can see, and I just think the pond is so like dreamy and cute and definitely just very inviting looking. And I love these floating lanterns as well. I just placed a whole bunch of these floating lanterns, which are debug items from Snowy Escape. I think they're so cute. So yeah, this pond idea was, I'm really happy that I decided to place a pond, because I think it really gives the build a little bit more character and it makes it a little bit more playful on the exterior as well. But yeah, I really like the shape of this build. The shape of it is not very complicated. It's quite simple, but I love the double roofing, if you know what I mean, like the roofing on both levels. I just really like how that looks. In my opinion, that's kind of traditional Japanese. I mean, as far as I know, I'm definitely not an expert, but I have researched a whole bunch of Japanese builds when Snowy Escape first came out, and I still have like a Pinterest board full of them. So whenever I need inspiration for a Japanese inspired world, I will look at these pictures and I see a lot of this like double roofing situation. I don't really know how else to call it, or what else to call it. But I really like how it looks, and it's, yeah, in my opinion, a little bit more on the traditional side, but then it's also kind of modern at the same time. I don't really know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope you guys agree. I did have a lot of fun with the landscaping. I tried to make it more lush because the build itself is pretty straightforward. It's kind of modern shape-wise and stuff, and it's, yeah, I really felt like combining it with a little bit more like lush landscaping, a lot of flowers and shrubs and greenery. And I just think it looks really nice. And then I also parked some bikes outside because I thought it would make sense for a community lot like this. And yeah, overall, I'm just really happy with the way that this lounge turned out. Obviously, there is not much of a storyline behind this because it is a community lot. So yeah, it's just a lounge. But I was thinking that it's a little bit more on the fancy side. It's probably kind of expensive too. Like, it's not a very exclusive lounge. Everyone is invited. You can just walk in. You don't like need a membership or anything, but it is quite fancy. I was imagining that there would be like live music pretty much every night. I did build a stage and stuff like that, so I thought that was a lot of fun. So I built a stage with a piano and a microphone and stuff like that. So I was definitely thinking that there would be live music pretty much every night, and then probably also like comedy nights a couple times a week where, yeah, stand-up comedians could just perform, stuff like that, or just open mic nights, things like that. I was kind of thinking that these people that are working in this lounge, they kind of organize all sorts of events throughout the week and throughout the weekend. I just thought that would be a lot of fun. I didn't really work too much with platforms in this build. I intended to, but I mean, the lounge, like the build itself on the interior, it's not that spacious. It's definitely quite spacious, but it's not that big. So I didn't really have too much room to play around with platforms without it becoming very messy. So the only platform I used, I think it's a platform in the hallway, like in the entryway, and then there is a platform, like a higher up platform in the lounge part, obviously, because that's the stage. The stage is not too high up though, but that's okay because it's not like very far away from where the guests are sitting, basically. So I figured it doesn't need to be very high up, just one step up would be enough. So I basically just got started with the whole like bar area situation. I placed a lot of countertops. As you can see, for the bar and the countertops, I went with a more like traditional style, a little bit less modern, but still very fancy and luxurious in my opinion. And yeah, I was kind of trying to figure out what sorts of appliances I wanted to place. And I did use a lot of curtains. Obviously that would make sense for the stage, like at night when it's dark outside or when there's like a performance on the stage, they will probably close all the windows and stuff and just work with the lights, with the stage lights and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I place a lot of curtains everywhere, but I also liked the look and feel of it being a little bit more like, just a little bit darker on the inside of this lounge. Makes it a little bit more like mysterious, a little bit more luxurious. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe that I was trying to go for. But yeah, here you can see I'm just placing a couple of chairs and tables. There's a lot of seating in this little part, and then there are more seating areas. Obviously, there's also that little indoor-outdoor patio area that we will get to a little bit later. And then there is also a second floor actually, which the second floor I did place another bar. But I do think that the bar is not functional. I mean, it's functional, but it's not functional in the sense that the lounge will actually load a bartender by default for the second bar upstairs. I think there's only going to be one bartender by default. And then if you want another bartender upstairs, then your sim would have to hire them separately. But I was kind of thinking of the upstairs area as an area that you can kind of rent out. Like if you want to have like a private party, if you want to celebrate your birthday with your friends and family, and you kind of want that to be exclusive, then you can just rent out the second floor and have your own bartender, and you can just hang out with your friends and family without being disturbed by other people, like by other guests basically. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, obviously that's not a thing that you can do in The Sims, but it is quite realistic, in my opinion, that you can rent out a room in a place like this, or like a little area where you can celebrate your birthday or your wedding or your anniversary or what have you. So yeah, I just thought that that was realistic. I was kind of thinking of the second floor as an area that you can rent out basically. But yeah, as you can see, I'm just busy decorating the place. I tried to make it not too cluttered because as you can see, the space is not, I mean, it's big, but it's not that big. And there probably will be a couple of Sims spawning here because it is a community lot. So I didn't want there to be any routing issues. I didn't want it to look empty either, but I was kind of trying to find that perfect middle ground of it being lived in, but not too cluttered, so that there won't be any like routing issues. But I still wanted it to look cozy and not empty, if that makes sense. So I was trying to find that middle ground, and I think I succeeded. I did playtest this lot, and it worked very well, in my opinion. The routing was nice. It was not too crowded. Obviously, it also kind of depends on how many Sims you have in your save file, I guess. Yeah, for me, there were definitely quite some. There were definitely a couple of guests when I was playtesting this build. And it definitely worked. So no routing issues. It was nice and playable. So that's definitely what I was going for. But yeah, as you can see, we're working on this little hallway section. I did place a couple of chairs and just a nice little coffee table. Just a nice little private area if you just want to have a nice conversation or something. It's a nice private little seating space. And then over here, as you can see, we have the, I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of like a patio. The game sees it as indoor space, but I was kind of thinking of it as more like outdoor seating because as you can see, I use these sliding doors that are open by default. So it's just a nice outdoor area in my opinion. And I placed some couches and some chairs as well. So yeah, I think that this is my favorite part of the build actually. If I were going to this lounge, I would be sitting here. I mean, of course, only when the weather is nice, but it's still so nice. And the scenery is nice. You have this little pond that you can look over with the little lanterns. And I put up some fairy lights, as you can see. So yeah, it's a very cozy little area. And I think I also placed a couple of additional tables and chairs out here as well. Yeah, it's exactly what I did. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a more like romantic spot if you're on a date and you want to have a spot a little bit more to yourself, a little bit more private, then you can just sit outside and it's just, the scenery is very romantic and nice. So yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. And then the space, this lounge has, I think, 3 or 4 bathrooms in total. So they're very nice and spacious bathrooms. I kept the toilets separate from the sinks because as far as I know, that's quite typical for Japanese builds. So I tried to do that. So I kept the toilet separate from the sinks, and I think it looks very nice. It definitely gives the build a little bit more character and it makes it a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I was definitely enjoying that. But here you can see that we are moving on to the upstairs area where I placed an additional bar. And this area up here is a little bit more playful in the sense that there's no stage here, but I did place a nice seating area with some couches. There is a bookcase up here so you can just relax and read a book or something. There is a gaming table up here as well so you can play some card games or Don't Wake the Llama. I think I placed a Don't Wake the Llama table, so I'm pretty sure that's the only game that you would be able to play. But still, it's nice to kind of pretend that it's just a regular like gaming table where you can play cards or whatever you want to play basically. And then there is also a tiny little coffee area up here as well. I placed a couple of countertops and I placed a coffee maker. So I was definitely kind of thinking that if you were renting out this this floor basically, then you can rent it with with coffee included, if that makes sense. So you can just kind of freely brew some coffee and have some coffee and it's all being paid for. And yeah, it's just, you can just kind of hang out up here with your friends and have a little bit of a party, birthday party or what have you. So yeah, I thought that that was nice. I definitely wanted to try and make this feel more like a living room situation, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit more cozy, a little bit less formal. Yeah, and it kind of feels more like a living room, like I just explained. So yeah, here you can see I placed the Don't Wake the Llama table, and then I placed a couple of countertops, and I placed the coffee maker on top of it. And yeah, I really like this build. I hope you guys like it too. Let me know what you think of this lounge. Let me know how you think I did. Like I said, I was kind of intimidated by building a community lot in this world because for some reason, when it comes to Mount Kamarebi, I feel like I want to get it right. Like, I don't want to do something Japanese inspired, but then offend someone, if that makes sense, because that's definitely not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to be creative and have fun with the game and have fun with styles that I'm not necessarily very familiar with, but still try to get it right. So yeah, that sometimes makes me a little bit nervous, but I think I did quite well on this build. I definitely looked at a lot of Japanese architecture before I got started. So I feel like I got it right. I feel like I succeeded in trying to make this build look Japanese inspired, and yeah, I'm just really happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. But yeah, like I said, if you want to see more entries for this collab, definitely make sure to search for the hashtag #IHeartJapan. I will list it in the description box down below. But that's actually it. So let's hop into the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have the build in the game. I really like this little entryway area and this little path off to the pond. I just think it's so nice, and I just love this scenery out here. I don't know why, but I just think it's very cozy and very cute, and I would definitely be sitting here all the time if I would come here regularly. But yeah, the landscaping is very green and lush, and I definitely really enjoy it. So when you walk into the lounge, you have this little sunken entryway right here. There is a bathroom right here, and then another bathroom over here as well. But then this way, this is the main part of the lounge. So here we have the bar area where you can sit. We have a couple of chairs and tables, and then over here we have the stage. I really like the stage. I don't know why, I just think it's cute. I love this grand piano up here and this microphone with this little bar stool. And then there's some like additional equipment back here, I was imagining, and a guitar and stuff like that. I just really enjoy the stage. And then over here we have this little private seating area, and then through the sliding door we have the patio space, which, like I said 1,000 times already, is definitely my favorite part of this build. I just think it would be so nice to sit here and hang out with your friends. I really enjoy it. And then upstairs, like I explained, we have this more living room situation. Obviously it's not a living room, but it definitely feels a little bit more like a living room than the downstairs area does. But up here we have this gaming table, as you can see, and we have this coffee area. There is a nice bookcase up here and just a nice additional seating spot where you can sit with a lot of Sims actually, and then an extra bar. The game will not load a bartender by default for this bar, but you could always hire one if you wanted to have one right there. But that's actually already it for this build. So the Wakaba lounge is up on the gallery if you want to download it and place it in your game. It goes on a 30 by 20 in Wakaba in Mount Komorebi, so if you want to place it, that's where you can put it. And it comes in at just over 60,000 simoleons, but I mean, it's a community lodge, so you don't really have to pay for it. So that's all good. But that's actually it for today's build. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. You can download it off the gallery like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is Simmarysims. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram if you'd like. My username on there is Simmarysims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so. And if you want to be notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!